Yes, hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Transfer Talk podcast. My name is not Pete Graves. Yes, it's Dharmesh here. Dharmesh Chef. Pete Graves still on sabbatical. Sorry, holiday. He has been away for a while. That tan is going to look very, very good, I'm predicting. But we have got a real treat for you on today's Transfer Talk podcast because I am delighted to say that I'm joined by a true friend of the show, not only of the show, but of myself. He used to be a colleague, but he's turned into a friend. ESPN, Julien Laurens. Welcome back to the Transfer Talk podcast. Julien, it's been too long. How you doing?
Hello, mate. Thank you so much for having me again. I'm doing great. And you?
I'm very good. How's the window gone for you so far? You must be. For me, look, it's 3 months, this one.
Yeah.
It feels like it's gone on for 3 years, this one.
I agree. I mean, we kind of knew we would have some sagas because we always do, but I don't think any of us predicted the Alexander Isak situation and development and everything. I've had a lot of my French boys, wherever they came from, Germany, France, Spain, coming to the Premier League, which is great. And Ugo Ekitike and Ryan Cherki, I guess, being the most important one, certainly for me, because of the clubs they signed for, because of the profile that they have, because it is also a World Cup year. So yeah, it's been great so far. The thing is, as you know, I was on holidays with the kids and the phone keeps ringing or the text keeps coming and you still need to work even if you're not really working. But that's fine. That's part of it.
Listen, you mentioned Alexander Isak there. We're going to come to him in just a moment, but I just want to do a quick overview because Premier League clubs, I mean, I'm astonished at this. They've spent more than £2.36 billion on signings this summer. The record spend in a single window was around £2.46 billion. That was in the summer of 2023. So we're just over £100 million away from breaking that record. I remember when there was £100 million spend in a window, yeah. We were thinking, goodness me, that is big. Now we're just £100 million away and we're just like throwing it away flippantly from breaking a record of 2.46 billion. Are you surprised by the level of spending by Premier League clubs, or does it not surprise you anymore?
No, I think I expected some of the top clubs to have big windows. I think we knew that Liverpool would spend big because they hadn't spent that much in previous windows and they had a squad that needed strengthening and kind of not rebuilding, that's a bit strong, but they needed something. So we knew they would be there. I think you knew that City, considering the season that they had last year and where their squad was, that also would be big investment. We knew that Arsenal were going in, wanting a striker. We knew Zubimendi was coming quite a while ago. So we knew that Arsenal will invest too, and then Chelsea always invest. And then you have United who finished 15th and had to invest. And then you had Spurs who finished 17th, had to invest because they played. So it looked like all the planets really, especially of the top clubs, were aligning for a big window. That big, probably not, especially when the rest of Europe is actually looking how much they spend and where they spend it. I mean, La Liga and the second division in Spain this weekend only had over 150 players not registered because the players, the clubs could not actually register them. In France, we've got no TV rights money anymore, so clubs are very careful and you sell more than you buy. So it seems that it's only in England where there's still a lot of money to be spent, and 2.3 billion, 2.4 billion, that's more than Serie A revenue for a year. That's more than Bundesliga revenue for a year. This is incredible, the power that English clubs have compared to other leagues in Europe.
Thankfully for Barcelona and Marcus Rashford, he did get registered.
Just about, yeah.
Made his debut. You spoke about Liverpool. It's close to £300 million so far that they've spent. It could, if certain things materialise, go through £450 million potentially. It is the biggest saga of the summer, Julien. It is Alexander Isak. It took an explosive twist, didn't it, on Tuesday night? He released that statement, promises have been reneged upon. Newcastle came back with their own statement. No such promises were made. Where does this end?
I still can't see him leaving. I think, and I was told that the decision was taken way above the club, right in Saudi Arabia, when they're saying like, listen, it's our price or no price. If people don't pay what we want, he's staying put. He's got 3 years left on his contract, whether he's happy, not happy, whether he wants to play or not to play. He can sit in the stands for all we know all season long. this is our decision. They are our rules, and these are the rules. I can't see Liverpool going up from 130 million euros to 150. I don't think this will happen. And so then I don't see him leaving Newcastle. I might be wrong. And yesterday, like you said, was another step in this kind of incredible saga. But I just don't see how he can force a move now, unless Liverpool are really willing to go big, 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 which I'm not sure they are.
Is this what you're saying there? That the Saudi owners just saying, "Well, we don't care." It's not like they're short of money. It's they're the richest club in the world, but they've got that frustration where they can't actually spend that money. Is that what might swing it though, if he was to go? Because clearly, if Newcastle spent what they wanted to spend, they'd be doing a transfer window like what Liverpool have just done.
Yeah.
But they can't, because they've got to comply with these profit and sustainability rules. So with that in mind, is that an issue for them, that maybe if it does go to 130 to 150 million pounds or whatever price they're looking for, that they might have to do it just to reinvest in that squad?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of that, and they've tried to find a replacement for him, whether that's Wissa, whether that's Nico Jackson, whether that's Trent Larson. Some of the names that are on the shortlist, they like Conrad Harder at Sporting, but he's not as developed already compared to the others that we mentioned. Certainly no Premier League experience, unlike the other three. Nolly Watkins, for example, I think at some point was a possibility, maybe. But the closer you get to the end of the window, the harder it gets, because if you're Aston Villa, you don't want to let Ollie Watkins go on August 30th or August 31st. Same with Wolves with Trent Larson, same with Brentford with Wissa. All of that is difficult. I also think that there's a bit of in Newcastle, don't really understand what happened with the Ekitike deal at Liverpool, because I think Liverpool knew that Ekitike was almost the perfect replacement for Isak at Newcastle. And yet, by Liverpool signing Ekitike, you took away an ideal replacement. And Ekitike might not have wanted to go to Newcastle. But if Liverpool don't come in for Ekitike, I think he might be interested in Newcastle, very much so. So I think in Newcastle, I think, hang on, you want Isak now, but you also signed the player that we wanted to replace Isak, to let Isak go to your club. So it's all these kind of conundrums and dilemmas and things like that made really, really difficult. But I do think that the Saudis, and you and I know the Saudis and the Qataris really well, and this is how they work. They have their own rules. It's when they want, how they want it, and which is there's nothing wrong with that. This is just how they work. And very much with this one, they felt that Liverpool were forcing their hands, and you don't really force the hands of the Saudis, of the Qataris, not with the money they have, not when they own football clubs. I saw that with Mbappe at PSG, when the Qataris said to him, listen, if you're going to go one day, we will let you go. Otherwise, you'll have to run down your contract, because it's on our terms here. And it feels to me a little bit like it's the same with Isak and the Saudis at Newcastle.
Yeah, you were mentioning those potential replacements and the players that they're looking at. One other guy that you'll know very well, of course, PSG's Gonzalo Ramos. He's been linked. Is that realistic? Is he good enough to replace someone like Isak?
I think he's very good. I think he is a bit slightly frustrated by his position at the club, in the sense that he's not a starter. The front three is without him. He's the first sub off the bench, maybe the second sub off the bench, even with Barcola, the other one. And that can be a bit frustrating, but he also wins and still scores goals and still play enough to not be completely unhappy. So he said after the game on Sunday against Nantes that he was staying. The club doesn't want to let him go. I think he would take a very, very big offer from Newcastle, both in transfer fee and in wages, to Gonzalo Ramos and to PSG, for them to open the door. So I don't know. I can see why they like him and why he's on the short list, but I think of the four that we mentioned, he's probably the most difficult one to do, I think, because there's no appetite from the club or from him to leave PSG.
Just generally on this, and in particular on a slant towards Liverpool here, Julien, what have you made of how they've approached this whole Alexander Isak situation?
I've got no problem. I'm not really sure exactly what happened with the Ekitike deal, because the way I see it is they could have waited a little bit more, maybe not made the Ekitike deal. Isak could have come out earlier and saying, like, I don't want to train anymore. I want to go to Liverpool. And then he could be a Liverpool player now, probably. But they liked Ekitike as well a lot. I've had discussions with people at the club about Ekitike and what happened in Paris and why it didn't work. They had a lot of questions over his talent and personality and everything. In the end, they were very happy to sign him. I think they would be very happy to have them both. They need another forward anyway because they lost Luis Diaz, Darwin, who they sold, and Diogo Jota, unfortunately, in the way we know. And they've only really brought Ekitike in, so they need at least another body there, whether that's a super expensive superstar number 9 like Isak, or a more up-and-coming forward, versatile that can play wide or as a 9 or second striker. I don't know, but they need somebody else. But I knew from the beginning they loved Isak too as much than Ekitike. So I think they thought they could do both, and they might still do. Because they still have money to spend, even on top of a Marguerite or centre back, which I find incredible. I mean, who could spend 500 million in one transfer window? Clearly, Liverpool in 2025.
Yeah, certainly can. Just on one of those players that you mentioned, Julian, on potentially coming into Newcastle, not necessarily you would say as a replacement for Isak, is Yohan Wissa. He's actually been seen, as far as I'm told, as a replacement maybe for Callum Wilson, and they're actually looking for the replacement for Isak. Just the latest on him before we carry on. He's livid. He is absolutely furious because he feels, rather like Alexander Isak, that there have been promises made to him that have been reneged upon. He's taken to social media by removing everything to do with Brentford